I'm ND sir from Abhyaas IIM Prep. We are here again to kind of discuss about IIM Indore's IPMAT paper today. I think it's a quick analysis based on our students' feedback right after the exam from the center. So I've put together a quick analysis for you. While we'll be doing more on IPMAT Indore paper in the coming weeks, I think today's thing, most of you who have taken the exam today, you will be anxious to know what could be the cutoff, what do you think the section has been, sections like sectional cutoffs, what do you think category-wise cutoffs have been, etc. So I hope this quick fire 10-minute video should help you understand what could be the cutoffs, etc. So without much delay, let's actually get into the session today. Right, this is the pattern, IPM Indore paper is a very unique paper in the sense that across the country, this is probably the only competitive exam at undergraduate level, that is students after 12th writing, where you have sectional cutoffs, sectional time limits, etc. We have 3 sections: quantitative aptitude short answers, that is fill in the blanks without any negative marking, 15 questions. We have MCQs, quantitative aptitude again 30 questions, and verbal ability 45 questions. So total of 90 questions with 360 marks. But do understand, each of the section by itself is like an exam, because each of them have a separate time limit, total 120 minutes, but 40 minutes each. And there's a negative marking of -1 for all the MCQ questions plus 4. Out of the 360 marks, what could be a good score? What could be a safe score? By category, by section. We'll discuss all that towards the thing. So this is conducted as an online exam at various centers across the country. I'm doing this analysis from Hyderabad. Okay, let's discuss this. Let's talk about the first section, and probably the one most famous section in IPMAT Indore exam, because this is one section that's unique as compared to other competitive exams. We have something called QA, we call it short answer question, where it's basically fill in the blanks, no negative marking. The 15 questions, this time the interesting thing is, our students, Abhyaas IIM Prep students, have actually felt this is easier than expected, easier than last few years, this section, as compared to what it has been last time. Maybe because they're well prepared, or maybe they felt this should be tougher than the other section. Surprise came in something else. Okay, so in this thing we had a very good distribution. The good thing is there were good distribution across all areas: set theory, matrices, permutations, combinations, progressions, LRDI, TSD, time and work, functions, inequalities and quadratic equation questions. There could be a little tricky, you need to be careful about that. Number systems and logarithms and exponents also. So the questions were well distributed across all the various areas that people candidates usually expect questions from. So this is a well balanced section and definitely easier than expected section. Now while this is a pleasant section for many students, I think a student who has had a good preparation would have attempted 10 to 12 kind of questions in this out of the 15. It's possible for you to attempt around 10 questions, right? Let's now go to the next section, the quantitative aptitude MCQ section. Generally considered better for students because they feel SAQ is a little tougher, but this time we are getting very unanimous response from many students that QA MCQ section is tougher than the QA SAQ section. Many people feel this is a little unexpected. The kind of questions that have come, I think most of them felt this is not typical arithmetic, higher maths have come, but do understand, we always say in Abhyaas IIM Prep also, IPMAT as an exam is always oriented more towards non-regular, non-commercial mathematics, non-arithmetic. That's what we've been telling. Unlike other IPM exams, IPMAT Indore is very much, there's a distribution between regular maths and higher maths. So if you felt after the exam that there is a more higher math, that is expected. So what we found was, this is tougher than SAQ, most students said. And again, while there are questions from number system, CI, TNC, etc., but there are questions from mensuration, geometry, functions, statistics, all these quadratic equations, logarithms, that made it a little tougher for students, and they found it tough. And I believe, we at Abhyaas IIM Prep, our team, we believe that this being a tougher section than usual will have an impact on the overall cutoff. And this section would, I think good students who are prepared well would have attempted around 18 to 20 questions, 18 plus questions out of the 30 with a good accuracy. If you have attempted 18 plus questions out of the 30 with a good accuracy, I think you have done well for this section. Like I said, IPMAT Indore is not a monolithic exam in the sense that it is not going to have a single cutoff. It's going to have a cutoff for QA SAQ, it's going to have a cutoff for QA MCQ, and it's also going to have a cutoff for verbal ability. So it is important for you to clear all the 3 cutoffs as well as the total cutoff to be getting a call for interview with IIM Indore. Right. Let's go to the third section, usually the darling section of all the IPMAT Indore takers, because it's easier than other 2 sections generally. And this time, very interestingly, it is easy, definitely as expected, but There's a small trick. RC this time has come. There's one new kind of RC has come. Unlike last year, which were only 2 RC passages, this time we had 3 RC passages. And one of them was in a new mode, a conversation kind of mode, a kind of dialogue kind of mode. That's a very interesting thing. And we also had questions apart from RC, the usual suspects, questions from idioms, sentence corrections, vocabulary, para completion, para jumbles, prepositions, etc. also have come, regular questions, expected questions. Out of this, anyone who has good reading speed, anyone who has a good regular reading habit, I think good book reading habit, I think should have walked through this exam like a knife through a cake. It should have been easy for them. That's what we believe. And I think good students would have, anyone who is targeted to crack IPMAT Indore should have attempted 40 plus questions out of this section, so that they are actually making a dent in the total score. This is a section that will help you. While quantitative aptitude, SAQ, quantitative aptitude, MCQ, you attempt to cross that section's cutoff. The overall cutoff, I think you can score a lot more in this section to be able to cross the overall cutoff. That's very important. So this is the update on the verbal section for IPMAT 2025. Let's now look at what happened. I mean, comparison with the last few years. While this is like I said, please understand this is not a very IPMAT Indore. IIM Indore does not reveal cutoffs. This is data that we gather from final selections and people who got calls, shortlist, etc. This is a kind of, don't take this data absolutely. Please take it with a relative understanding. This is a graph that we have made to a relative understanding only. Please understand this. If you can see that, I think the 2022-23 was the year where the cutoffs of IPMAT Indore have gone up. I think last couple of years, 24 was a little lesser than 23, and I believe 25 also is going through the same trend. We are not trying to say that the cutoffs will go down crazily, but I believe the cutoffs will definitely be slightly lower than 23 and somewhere near to 24. That's what we are overall trying to say. Now, without much delay, let me actually take you through the, and by the way, we have sectional, we also are going to talk about category wise. So without much delay, let me come to my most important slide of the expected cutoffs for 2025. Right? What we believe is for a general category, I think for SAQs, this time SAQ being a little easier section, I think the cutoff would be definitely 20 plus. It could be a little higher also, 20 to 25 also, but this is definitely something that you should be expecting. And QMCQs, I believe, while it is tougher than earlier years, I still believe cracking something like 12 to 13 questions was not very difficult. So 50 plus is wanted to be able to cross that QMCQ. And then finally verbal, like I said, you should be attempting 40 plus with a good accuracy. I think anyone who is able to get the 35 net correct, 35, 36 correct, I think you are getting around 140. That's the kind of cutoff on the three sectional cutoffs. But do understand, IPMAT Indore is not only about crossing. Even in the classes, we would have discussed about cutoffs on all three of them together adding up to 170, 180. Last few years, I've always said in the classes also to students, Abhyaas students also, if you can add all the three, generally there are around 170, 180, 190 as a 3 individual sectional cutoffs added. But the final cutoff is again 20, 30 marks more than that. So here, this year also, I think we believe any score around 22, 22, 30, I think you can expect an Indore IPMAT, IIM Indore GDP interview call. That's what is going to happen. And then we have the next set of category. This time we're talking about those who are EWS and OBC category. I think further the cutoffs would be slightly lesser. I think math would be, I think it's around 60-70% of the total cutoff that is there for general category. If you can get 12 to 15 and 35 to 40 and 115 plus, overall I think a score of 170 plus, 175 plus, I think would be a safe score for someone from OBC or EWS section to be able to get an interview call from IIM Indore this year. And finally, the category SC/ST students also, you have to understand the cutoffs would be 8 to 10 in math and 25 plus in the MCQ. I think that's the differentiator this time. Otherwise, the scores could have been another 10-20 marks higher, and then verbal 90 plus. Overall, I think a 135 would be a good score for someone who is from this category to be able to get a call for an interview, partial interview. So with this thing, I think now that we have done this, what next? Many of you, I think you will have anxiety about your scores. I think results are expected in a couple of weeks, few weeks. I think it is expected that June 1st week it will come. But to understand, what do we do now? What next? I think as I always say in the class, an exam, whether it's IPMAT Indore, IPMAT Rohtak, etc., should not deter you, should not kind of either make you too jubilant or too unhappy. I think you have done something very important. Most of you have been preparing for this for last 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, I think whatever, I think rejoice a little, refresh a little, take a little break, but do also understand that you have bigger journey, more important journey to have in the next month or so, because your interviews will happen, your final admissions will come, and all that is going to happen. So please work on. I think I'm now going to do what's next for IIM prep students. What you should be doing. I think the very important thing is if you're very confident, if you from the cutoffs etc. you feel confident. By the way, it's not only for IPMAT Indore, it could be for other IPMAT, GIPMAT or IPMAT other things also. Please work a lot on, we call it VAT PI in general for CAT and other stuff, so that's a word we use, but in your case it could be more PI, personal interview, but please work on the statement of purpose, essays, questions, what kind of questions, interviews, etc. Please plan your CV, resume, all that. It's a very important facet of your preparation. And while we're doing this, let me also tell you, for all those who have put their eggs in the basket of IIM Indore and you really want to kind of crack that, I think we in Abhyaas IIM Prep channel have already been doing videos on a new program called IIM Coach's BMS program, a 4-year program, it's a 5-year program, but I believe in terms of vintage, in terms of the kind of value, the kind of brand value and the program brings, I think IIM Coach's program should be on par with IIM Indore. So those who believe you could have done better, you're serious about making it, etc., please apply. You have time. I think another couple of weeks time is there for you to kind of apply for IIM Coach's program. So do apply to that without failure. It's very important. And you have more videos about IIM Coach's program, you can check out. And the second thing is, if you're unsure, you're not sure what's happening, etc. By the way, you still can do this, but please understand you can. I think when IPMAT Indore guys actually release the your master key or your answers, etc., you'll get to know in the next few days or a week. So, and finally, for those of you, all those IPMAT 2026 aspirants, people who are preparing for next year, please take this papers template as a standard, because a lot of times what happens is, we as teachers also take the latest exam, try to learn from it what kind of new things have come and try to introduce them into the program. So as students also, you can take this as a template and start preparing for the next year's exam, work on this. And with that, I wish you the very best, and signing off, your Naresh sir.